Hello everyone, Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here for another State of the Game. Yes, Star Citizen has been plugging along for the 2.5 weeks I've been gone. And it was quite an eventful 2.5 weeks in my personal life. It began a couple of weeks ago with me having to go down to Tampa for a meeting with the company I work for. And I expected to get a whole bunch of training on different things that we do internally, like, things that we sell, things that we create. And in the grand scheme of things, that's not what happened. It was actually a meeting about making ourselves better. And I had so much fun and so much work to do that week, but I really came out of it loving the company I work for even more. That hit right at the same week that finals were starting. So I came back and immediately had 3 finals. I did exceedingly well on the two that I took before I went away. One was a final, one was a last test. And I did okay on the ones when I came back, not having time to study, because, work is much more important. Things just got out of hand. And then it was right back to work and spending some time with my children. And now I'm back. And there isn't there isn't anything that changed in Star Citizen. You could tell that here. But I hadn't been in the game for over 2.5 weeks, and I needed to do something. I had been. The week that I came back, we were not on Lightspeed Lunatics, but I was on Lightspeed Lunatics this past weekend, and I did play quite a bit of Star Marine. God, I love that. Star Marine is amazing to play with your friends. I'm not saying it's the best FPS out there, but if you just love Star Citizen, it is pretty awesome to play. But I hadn't been in this part of the game, the PU, for a while. So what do? I jump into the ship that I say it's my favorite all the time, and it still is. It's the Consolidated Outland Mustang Delta. This is just absolutely the ship I have the most fun in every single time. It's small, it's nimble, it has the weapons that are all focused right down, dead center, and all work on one single trigger, which I like. I don't like the weapons where you have to use 2 different fingers to fire. I know there's ways around that, and we can talk about that later, and I know it's going to be easier when the game is live, but I just wanted to jump into my Mustang and get into the game and play for a little bit, and wow. I can tell you, I just, every time I come into this, even though it's the same thing over and over and over and over again, I don't feel like I'm insane. I feel like I have a great time every time I play this game. And I think it's just because the game is just so beautiful and it's just working so well today. I think the move to AWS, the move to Lumberyard, really has made things, it's made the game a much more pleasant and engaging experience for me, and it makes me want 3.0 even more so. Now, there was a monthly report that came out from Star Citizen, from Cloud Imperium Games, and they talk about a lot of the things that they're working on. And when I look at it, there's a lot of wows in there, and the wows are they're showing off ships and how they're working. They're talking about Assumption again. They're talking about making the game much more realistic, much more diverse, much more. You get it. They're doing so much in this game, and it's just bringing it into a period of probably much more rapid releases, especially after that Delta updater comes out. Once that Delta updater comes out, they're not going to have to save up the packages for a big download. They'll be able to put things out in little packages. I just don't know when that's going to happen. But where I'm going with this is, even with all that, all the things that we were told, competitors of the game, or I'm not even going to call them competition, other games from the same genre, are actually starting to move forward just as rapidly. Now, there was that big release from Frontier for Elite Dangerous, and that was the addition of the Commanders. And Horizon Commanders actually gives you a 3D model of your commander that Really, it's not an avatar per se that you could walk around with in any of the space stations like they've promised in the future. It's more like an avatar that other people and you can see or share and give you a little bit more personality for your particular character. But they've also started their idea of multiplayer drop-in, which essentially you drop in on somebody's ship, you share some experience, you get to use their turrets or other pieces of the ship. Not as intricate as our game, but they are starting to make Elite a little bit more fun to play. Maybe I'll go out there and play a little bit and let you guys see. I'm not sure yet. Every time I go into Elite, I feel like, there's just too much time to spend to try to go between planets and figure out where I'm going to make the most money and how I'm going to get to the ship I want. But even so, even with that negative piece that I said, the game is excellent. And what they've just done is they've added another version of the game. So currently they have a PC version, they have an Xbox One version, and now they have a PS4 version. So when I was talking about the potential for Star Citizen's Squadron 42, right? That's the AAA title that we're going to get. That's a mission playthrough, right? It's the successor, the true successor to Wing Commander. Being on a console, the reason is very, very, very clear. More people use consoles than PCs. That's just the bottom line. And why would you ever want to not make more money? So I kind of hope that it does move to the consoles at some point. Just Squadron 42. I think it will be fine. We already know that they have this game working very well with Xbox-style controllers. So I'm hoping that that's something that happens with Squadron 42. I'm not exactly enthusiastic about that happening inside of the Star Citizen game, though. And that's because I don't know. I don't know how they would handle a lot of the elements of the MMORPG aspect of that. And I don't want the game, the Star Citizen game, dumbed down for consoles. I don't mind Squadron 42 being there, but I would mind my Star Citizen being there. So really excited about that. And then, of course, what happens? I find out that I left, stopped doing videos for a couple weeks, and they were selling the Banu Defender. Beautiful ship. I just didn't want to spend money on it because my funds are limited. I have a lot of ships I like, and really didn't want to... I just didn't want to spend the money on that ship because it would wind up being hanger candy for me. Meaning it would be something to look at, something to, for me, my personal opinion, gorgeous ship, not for me. It would just be something that would take up space in my hangar. And I come back to reveals, sneak peeks at a ship that they're going to have for sale this weekend. An Aegis Dynamic ship. And little by little, they've dropped enough hints where I know the Eclipse is a replacement for the Retaliator. It has to be. The lore of the Retaliator is that the reason we have it is it's old and it's going to be phased out of the UEE Navy soon. And it was a dive bomber and bomber. And like the B-52, they'll continue to keep their, a limited number of these Retaliators in the inventory for the UEE. But they had to bring out something else because, we're trying to push back the Vandal. We're trying our best. Oh, I just love what's going on the screen right now. I love this one piece, how these little drones come out and fix your ship. It's totally implausible, but pretty cool looking. Anyway, we know that they have to replace the Retaliator, and they go ahead, they start teasing us with little images, and then they give us an image of a big giant ship under a shroud. Come on, folks. How is it not a bomber? It's got to be a bomber, and since the Saber is stealth, it's got to be a stealth bomber, and it's kind of following along the lines of what's going on today in the US, right? We have a B3 currently under development. I don't even know if there's any images of it yet, but we know that that's part of that $1 trillion nuclear deterrent plan that Obama signed into, signed, I think it was about a year and a half before he left office. And that just led me to believe that this has to be a stealth bomber. And it needs to be in my hangar. It absolutely has to be in my hangar. It just does. I have the Retaliator, and I want that. And this is one of those times that I'm not going to do a... oh god, this thing is fast. I'm not going to do a upgrade from the ship I have, because I have all of the modules for the Retaliator. The apartment, the different dropship, all the different things that you can have for it. And I really like my Retaliator. I love the old design and how it has that feel of a B-52 merged with a B-36, or even more possibly, because B-36s had remote turrets. Freaking CIG, think about remote turrets, because they used them from the end of World War II on. And you would think that 1,000 years in the future, they're using them then. Nonetheless, I like the look of it. I want to keep it. So I'm going to have to look at this ship and see, is it going to be a purchase that I make now? After I said, I don't want to spend more money on the game. I don't. I just want the game to come out and then I'll spend more money on it. Or is it something that I'm going to buy in game? I think it's going to be the latter, because really, I look at the amount of money I spent on this game and I get sick sometimes. But I love these ships so much. There's still a lot of work to do on the ones that we have already. That's the other piece. At least they fixed it to where I can exit my Mustang without crashing the game. That was pretty good. So, new ship, right? New ship. Yeah. Let's go get a Retaliator. Give me a second here, folks. I'll be right back. So I went and I got my Retaliator out. Oh, there it is. Look at that. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think that this is a beautiful ship. I mean, it has absolutely no purpose in the game right now. And I am almost sure that I will probably not use it as a bomber, although I may donate it for use on Operation Pitchfork. I think that would be a good idea. I mean, look at these huge torpedoes. They got to be good for something, right? Let's go over here and let's just take a look at those again. Those things are huge. All right. And, you know, we can lie down in here and pretty much find our escape pods, which you'd never get to if this ship was blowing up. There's absolutely no way you would be using these. They're sleep pods. But there's absolutely no place to sit down. I mean, there's no galley on this ship. Not unless you get the apartment module. I just, for some reason, even with all of the negatives about the ship, especially this tiny, tiny, tiny captain's quarters. Come on. I'm the captain of one of the nicest attack vessels in the fleet, and I got a tiny, tiny little place. All right, so here we go. In the turret, let's go inside of it, and let's show you how our turret's supposed to work. We sit down in the turret, and it flips upside down. Ooh, I just got vertigo, and now we're shooting upside down. Remember, there is no upside down or right side up in space. It's pretty cool, right? Pretty damn cool. I really am liking this vessel. All right, I'm going to cut it here. Actually, maybe I'm not. Let's get out of it. And come on, hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's go running around the ship for a second. Nah, let's not get run the ship. Let's go. Let's get in the pilot seat and take this thing off. Come on, out. Come. I know I can. Maybe I can't fly this vessel. Keep trying. Out there. Oh, I saw it. That leads me to another thing. So if you've been watching any of the ATVs, they showed something, I think it was either this past Friday or the Friday before, about how they're going to implement that use function. And they started showing the cursor, the use of the cursor. So the cursor was like a little dot, or not a dot, but a couple of concentric rings that would be inside of the, well, that's going to be in the next version of the game, I'm almost sure. But it takes away that how do I click on something? And that is just the best thing that they've done, because I've sat in front of the elevators for 5-10 minutes over in Grimhex and couldn't get them to work, which is one of the main reasons I don't go there anymore, because for some reason, whether it be desync or not, I just couldn't get the use function to show up. And it would be there for a split session. Oh, I can't even speak. A split section. That is so funny. I can't speak. A split second. And then it would be gone. Gone. And I couldn't get it to work, so I'd just leave Grimhex and curse under my breath. But recently, I haven't had that issue so often, but that would just be amazing. Now, I'm not going to bring this ship anywhere because, honestly, if I leave the armistice zone, if somebody decided to attack me, there's absolutely nobody on this ship right now, and I have no access to any of the weapons from this seat. At least, I don't think so. I mean, you really need to man all your gun positions, and you need to man your torpedo position for this thing to be useful. But nonetheless, it really does. I mean, it's graceful. It's a graceful bomber. And when I think about this, I could close my eyes and put myself in any one of the air shows that I've been to in Georgia, whether it be down south by Macon or over at Dobbins Air Reserve Base or up in Rome. And when the B-1s and the B-2s fly over, oh God, they are just so amazing. I mean, it's cool having a jet fighter come over at 400 knots, screeching by with the engines just whistling at you, and then all of a sudden they're gone. But having that big, beautiful bird of an airplane like a B-1 or the B-2 that looks like something Batman should be flying, or Batgirl for that instant, it's just amazing. And that's the look, that's the feel I get of this ship. Just wonderful. All right. I think I've said enough about the Retaliator. Let's jump on, because there's something else I want to talk about. Okay, here we are going through another airlock. What's it going to be? What's it going to be, boy? Yes or no? Okay, here we go. Let's just get out here and see what's going on. And is it? Can it be? Oh, one of the most gorgeous, if not the most gorgeous ship in the game. Now, I have not flown this ship in a very long time, and I have to say, the M50 was one of those ships that when it came out, I just looked at it and said, I have to have it. So why am I showing you the M50? Origin 600, baby. It's the only Origin ship I have right now. I've sold off all my 300 series because, you know, I don't think that I like the 300 at all right now. But the minute Chris is done with the rework, Chris Smith that is, and go back and watch that video I did with him because he's amazing. I can't wait for the 600 to be out because I think that's going to come out and it's going to wow us. So far we know about the 300 series. Of course we do. And that's going to get redone. It's going to be beautiful. We have the M50 and we have the 890 Jump, which will be out sometime in the next year or so, right? And then a 600. And they had teasers of the 600 in the back of the Banu, they called it like the National Geographic type article of it. And they really, 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 really love what the 600 looks like. Now, it is, in my estimation, going to be a pricey ship. Because most of the Origin ships, although we didn't have a very high price on the 300 series for what we got out of it, $75 to $85 to $115, $120, whatever it was for the 350R, was not a lot of money. Well, $120 on a digital, on something digital that doesn't exist is a lot of money, no matter how you look at it. But it wasn't a lot of money. But then they came out with, I think it was the Origin 890 Jump. And that was like $650, I believe, or $600. And I'm trying to think, what would an Origin 600 be? And I'm thinking it's going to be $300 to $400. And that's definitely something I'm going to work towards when the game goes live. And that'll probably be the next one of the concept sales after the current one. Oh, that's just freaking awesome. Did you see that? That was amazing. I just love looking at this ship, especially in space. I do have to say, I have not flown this ship in combat. Look at that, like the Testarossa, like the Ferraris. Oh, God. See through, see the engines, the power plants in there. The thing is just gorgeous. But I haven't flown this thing in combat for a long time, so let's go take it into combat. One-on-one. Batgirl versus the world. Well, let's go see what we do with this. Anyway, I'm just thinking that's another ship that's coming out, just another thing for us to spend money on. And if you're still in ship purchasing mode, I have to say thank you, because you're helping this game get made. I mean, they have to be running out of money at some point, right? They have bills to play, payroll, bills to pay, payroll to pay, lots of things going on. So if they continue that revenue stream, I'm telling you this, if you want to continue the revenue stream, get 3.0 out as quickly as possible. Now, I'm starting to feel more and more comfortable with believing 3.0 is going to be out on time. And for me, on time is not the 26th of June. It's by about the 15th of July. They cannot deliver this more than 7 to 21 days late. I'm saying 7, but 21 the latest. And the reason for that is they have to go into Gamescom with their head up, with something delivered, so they could start talking about something else. Going to Gamescom and talking about the same thing that didn't come out is not going to fare well for them. So CIG has to get 3.0 out. I am sure they're all working diligently, and they're working around the clock to make that happen. And based on the updates, the weekly updates to the calendar, to the schedule, and based on the monthly reports and based on the ATVs, I am almost sure, almost certain, that they have to be ready. They have to be ready for this to come out. Alright, so just a couple of things over here. I just want to kill something with this and then I'll let you all go. But I'm pretty ready to say that I'm more comfortable. I'm more comfortable believing in that date. So other games I've been playing the shit, excuse my language, out of Civilization 6, and it's because I needed some downtime. And I also picked up Tom Clancy's Wildland. Not the best, and I would have called it Ghost Recon, but to me, that's not Ghost Recon. That's like Just Cause or Tom Clancy's Grand Theft Auto Bolivia. I mean, it's just not what I would call the typical Ghost Recon game. But I'm still liking it. I'm liking it a lot. And now I just want to put out a request. If anyone's using the Oculus Rift to play Star Citizen, I'd love to have a little, just jot something down and send it to starcitizenaa@gmail.com and tell me what your experience is with that. I'm not sure if it works with it. I had someone say that it does, and I just don't believe that right now. So I'm very interested in finding out what your experience is using it, or if it just doesn't work. There's a reason for this. I do have a friend that has an Oculus Rift. Sebi Lewicka? Is that it? Yeah, Sebi. He goes by Sebi Davis Jr. on Discord. He's never used it in that. And I'm about ready to probably get one for my household, because all our friends like to play it, the kids like to play it, and I'm just wondering if it's at all even possible to use it for Star Citizen. So if you do have any experience using that, I would love to hear from you. Alright folks, I took out the Aurora, so the M50 versus Aurora, Nikki wins. And I think that's where I'm going to leave you this week. I'm going to leave it at that. I know it's just a lot of information coming out of me And maybe because I just love the game so much, being away from it, I'm a little bit more positive right now. But I tend to be a disbeliever until I see things starting to happen. And I know that because I'm always positive on my show, you guys may not believe that to be the truth. But I always, always, always am more skeptical outside of the show than I am in the show. And the main reason for that is, you know, I'm a patron just like you. I'm buying the game. I'm giving them money. I'm giving my soul to this thing. And when things don't work out, I feel very slighted. But at this point, I'm feeling really good. And I'm thinking that we're going to have a really amazing summer. And if they do come out with 3.0, holy cow, what are they going to show us? What are they going to show us at Gamescom? And I'm going to leave you with that. And with that said, you all be safe out there, and I will talk to you soon.